Six Sages Gaming is brought to you by GamersGauntlet.net. Check them out for all your single, sealed product, and playmats.
Hey guys, welcome to another Six Sages Gaming Deck Spotlight. Today we have for you a Kaguya control deck that's, maybe call it Dark Kaguya, whatever you want to call it. You might see most of the cards, that they look like a very similar traditional Kaguya deck, but it adds some really interesting cards from A4 that we think are going to be some cards we're going to be seeing a lot of play in the next set. So without talking about too much about it, we'll talk about the ruler first, then get into the stone deck, and then talk about the main deck cards. Alright, so first we have the ruler, Friend from Another World Kaguya. Pretty basic judgment cost, 1 light, 1 moon, 1 of anything. What's really neat about this ruler, and what's always great about color fixing, is that she can pay moon as if it was wind will, so you'll see in our stone base that becomes quite relevant. And what's also really great is whenever you play a moon, you get to draw a card. So it's great for nobles or things of that nature. Now the other side of her is basically a wall of text. But what's really great is, anytime you play Awakening, she can get counters. She still has the ability to filter moon to wind will. She can prevent damage to be done to her. And her God Art, which is a very strong effect, allows you to basically prevent your opponent from attacking for 1 turn. And can be really there to put you in a safe spot to buy you an extra turn when you might really need it. So this is a really great ruler for a kind of aggressive controlling route, because she can also get very big, and her God Art can be used to swing the game in your favor. Going on to the stone deck, and this one will probably be no surprise, but 4 Ruler's Memoria, because we want to be casting a lot of different colors in our deck. There's a lot of attributes for different requirements: double light, double dark, wind and light on some cards. It's just great to have the access to Ruler's Memoria, just so we have all the options covered. So we will be playing, of course, the traditional 8 Regalia. 4 Black Moon's Memoria. Now again, with Kaguya, this can be either wind, moon, or dark. So this is great for being able to cast all our turn 1 Will Dorks, or Monodorks as they're called in other games. It just allows us to play a darker version of the deck while still being able to have our wind attribute when needed. And lastly, just to round it out, because again, we need more moon. This counts as both wind and light, and is overall just a great card. And again, we do have things that we want to be casting that are double light in the deck. So this stone base, it pretty much allows us to do all the things that we want to be doing, and at least the best that we have as of right now. So going into our main deck, we have 8 Regalia in total. 1 on Demon Sword, just great for banishing our own stuff if we need to in a pinch. Can give Kaguya Imperishable if we need it. Horn, because we are playing a control deck, you always want to start with, as Daryl always says, 1 Horn and 39 other cards. It allows us to recycle our deck when we need it, and allows us to, make sure we don't deck out. But what's really great about it is we can combo with Death Scythe, which we play a 2 of, and it allows us to, let's say, Scorn's a really bad late game, or we've already destroyed their J-Ruler with a Black Moonbeam. We want to make sure that we get it out of our graveyard before we shuffle it back in, just so all our draws are going to be live. And then lastly, because again, we are playing Kaguya, it can be used for Judgment, Awakening cost, God Arts, all the good things. 4 of Apollo. Now what's really great about this card as well, it makes things like Lilith super playable, but in a pinch it also allows us to, let's say, bounce a Seraph back to our hand to prevent it from dying to a removal spell. So not only does this card provide a great amount of utility early game, it also provides a great amount of utility mid to late game as well, be it for the slew of things that it can do for Kaguya, or just protecting our finishers in the deck. Moving into our 1-drops, we have 3 Wall of Wind. Again, a card that is just amazing on the play, and it can also be great against those decks that want to play on curve. It can really, surprise your opponent out of nowhere if they're on, turn 4, 5, 6, and they try to sequence their turn, do it wrong, and then you can punish them very heavily with the Wall of Wind. 3 Scorn of Dark Alice, as I throw the other one upside down and off to the side. There's 2 things I really like about this card. So Culling for Magic, and we have things like Thoughtseize, or things that basically allow us to see our opponent's hands. Duress was the card I was thinking of. Scorn is great because we get to take their Resonator, but we also get to think about, okay, if I turn 1 Scorn my opponent, I know what their hand looks like. I know more than likely what they're going to do on turns 2, 3, maybe even 4. And providing that information just is great for helping you sequence out your turns. So anytime you need to play a card that lets you look at your opponent's hand and remove something for it, we're definitely going to be big proponents of, because that information is great in helping you win or determine your path to winning the game. Then, of course, for Moonbreeze Elf, the best elf for the deck, or the best Wildorc for the deck, can't be attacked, which is super relevant, so you can't get punished by tapping it on your turn. It can tap for both Moon and Wind, as again, thanks to Kaguya's ability, and it just allows us to smooth out a lot of the plays in our deck. And again, we play stuff like Noble that needs the Moon for Awakening. It can help accelerate into a Lilith when we really need it. Card can do a lot of great stuff, and it's obviously the best in Kaguya that lets us filter the Moon into Wind. Moving on to our 2-drops, card I'm sure a lot of people are going to be expecting to see a lot more of. Black Moonbeam. Destroy target J-Ruler, can't be chased, instant speed, all that good stuff. Not too much needs to be said about this. In a game where if you especially look at like the A4 rulers with like Machina, Arla being the playable ones, or even going back and seeing like a Reflect that we just need to kill, this finally gives us an answer to be able to stone dead kill a J-Ruler, especially Reflect. He can't flip back. So I think that this card is going to be seeing a lot of play as well, either be it main board or sideboard. That depends on if they're playing Reflect or not, or if you have a way to discard or what have you, if you want to play a couple main deck as well. But absolutely think that this card is going to be seeing a lot of play in our upcoming meta. So I think Wind Secluded Refuge will also start seeing a lot more play out of sideboards. Speaking of Noble, and a card that lets us draw a card, 5/7 body is great, lets us destroy an addition to become a 7/9, or 700/900, which is really great number-wise for being able to survive a lot of things or being able to kill some things. So just a great card if we need to get rid of barriers, or if there's some kind of other problematic addition that's getting in the way. This is just our main deck answer to it. Again, because we're playing Kaguya, not only is it easier to get that play cards that let us produce Moonwill, because they also do other things for Kaguya, but it's an Awakening spell that lets Kaguya get bigger on her J-Ruler side. In the next 2-drop, we have 3 Lilith. Again, you saw that we're playing 4 Apollos, 4 Moonbreeze Elves. We have a lot of ways to accelerate into this, and it's just great for an early play, especially if we open up like double Apollo, and we get to either kill Lancelot or just kill whatever our opponent's going to be playing and gain some life out of it. Now, again, because we're playing Apollo, we can even do things if we're in a pinch. We can use Apollo to bounce it back to our hand and kill the next thing that they play. So the card just has a lot of utility for it. Yes, it's kind of better early plays where you can just maybe cheat 2 Apollos to pay for the cost. If it goes late game, you're trying to kill like a Seraph with it, and you got to pay 7. Sure, if you're going to the late game, that's probably fine, but that's probably not what you want to be doing with it more often than not. But you still have the option to, which is extremely important. Another one of my favorite cards from the new set, Lapis Dark Storm. Your opponent discards one at random and then one of their choice. So I like to be a greedy man, and I like playing Scorns and this, so you can basically Scorn them turn 1, play this on turn 2, and they're going to be out of resources very, very fast, and then you can follow that up with like a Lilith on turn 3 plus another 1-drop if you have it, like a Moonbreeze Elf or something, just to get more will out there. But it allows you to not get terribly punished for them getting to play something on their turn 2 when you get to kill it with Lilith. Most likely get that life that you just lost gained back, and then it allows them to only have like 1 card left in their hand at that point, especially if they're playing the more aggressive strategies. And if you're playing against a control mirror, this card is just absolutely bonkers. If you get to resolve this and take out their counter magic or take out their biggest threat in their hand by chance, the random discard, or at any time if you're in the control mirror, you don't want to be losing cards. So this card is probably another one of my top 5 cards, I'll just say, out of the new set in terms of how great it can be. I mean, Spiral of Despair was great when we were playing Pandora, and this is the in-between between that and just discarding 2. So I think one being random is just fine, and then they're still having to discard another. I think this card's great, and I definitely will be looking forward to casting it many, many times in future games. The last 2-drop, which should be no surprise at all, Seal of Wind and Light. And again, another card that has Awakening. You can buff Kaguya. Another card that we can just absolutely say no, and they can't have a counter spell to it, either if they're using Refrain or their own counter magic. It's just a great card that allows us to absolutely say no to our opponent and what they want to be doing without having to worry about them having another response. Obviously, you can't counter Black Moonbeam because it can't be chased to, but it's still a great card to play a 4 of. Our only 3-drop, Interdimensional Escape, which a lot of people are very excited for. Turns out when you get a pseudo board wipe, each player gets to keep one thing of their, or one Resonator of their choosing. At instant speed and a 3-drop, it's probably gonna shake the meta. I expect the meta to be slowing down a lot, but I do expect that with what's it called, Blood Boil, the Skullcrack equivalent. I think there might still be some red fringe deck out there. I'm not going to say it's going to win any big tournaments, but I think that there's still going to be someone out there brewing a red deck that is going to be able to play around this card. And again, with maybe Vingolf and Dual Stones, I think there's going to be some more room for those red decks to come back. But in the meantime, this is an insanely strong card and one that we expect to see, again, a lot of play. And then going on to the finishers of the deck, or the big old bodies, should be no surprise here. We have 2 Seraph, 2 Lucifer. This card has kind of been the control finisher package for a while now. Lucifer is great by himself on turn 4, just making your opponent banish a Resonator. Again, as I was mentioning earlier, if we're playing this heavy discard game where they're not getting to play a lot of things every turn, or we have like discard Wall of Wind, we can set ourselves up where they only have 1 Resonator on the board, and they're going to get heavily punished by it and get Lucifer out of the game. And then, of course, he's a 900/900 body, which is super relevant, and he has the life gain effect in, and our stones can happily afford that, so that's another big plus. And Seraph by herself, obviously, gains 300 when she attacks, gains 600 when she attacks if you have both. 10/10 body, super strong. Both of them have evasion in the form of flying, and is just absolutely great. So this is still, unless we get some kind of insane spoiler out of Vingolf, which we shouldn't, because Vingolf's tailored more towards like beginners. I think this is definitely going to be our control package finisher for quite some time. Just the value of getting a Seraph on 5 and getting 1900 power on board, and your opponent has to banish a Resonator, turns out is still very, very strong. So, hope you guys liked it. This was the more dark version of Kaguya. It's one that focuses both on discard, play some cards out of A4 that allow us to play a different version of it, but again, lets us have a more controlling build in mind. So let us know what you guys think. Again, we will be playing these in the duel series for this week, so make sure to check out those videos as well. Thanks again to Gamers Gauntlet and Ultimate Guard for sponsoring the channel. Thank you guys. If you haven't had the chance yet, please make sure to watch the 5,000 subscriber giveaway. It's only a few days left of that to win some sweet Force Will product and Ultimate Guard stuff. So thanks again for watching, guys. Hope you liked it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you on the next 6 Sages Gaming Deck Spotlight. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and leave us a comment with what you thought of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to 6 Sage Gaming and check out some of the deck spotlights, duel series, and Force of Community videos that are already on the channel. We also have a Facebook and a Twitter, so feel free to find us there. Lastly, if you have a deck that you would like featured in a video, be sure to drop us a comment below. Until next time, take it easy.